I came to Mosside in 1955 to finish my apprenticeship as a mechanic at the garage. Coming from nearby Dervick, I thought everything would be much the same. Mosside was a busy village with 3 grocer's shops, 2 pubs, a part-time bank and a tailor's shop. You could say I got a warm welcome in Mosside, as on my first day I was coming out of the garage when a snowball hit me fair on the nose. At least I knew someone had seen me. I know who did it, but better name no names in case we have a blizzard. As I got used to the people, I found out lots more about them and what went on. Mr. Taggart, one of the tailors, invited me over to the shop to eat my lunch, and I was pleased to accept, for it was nice and warm and I got the chance to watch them at their trade. One made the trousers and one made the jacket, and it was fascinating to watch them at work. One pub was owned by Seamus Conley, who was Roman Catholic, and he was one of the best neighbours anybody could wish for. Many a time he helped when times were hard. The other pub was owned by Mr. Edwards Taggart. That was on the other side of the street. Of course, after a while I met a beautiful young girl from Mosside, and from then on my fate was sealed. I got my trade as a mechanic, and my father bought the garage I took over and ran until my retirement in 1996. I have lived in Mosside for 45 years and it is my home now. My abiding hope would be that the community can put the years of conflict behind them and live peacefully, accepting all cultures and sharing the best of Mosside, its friendship with all who live or visit there.
The people of Mosside, like those the world over, have their share of ardent football supporters. Liverpool and Man United have their loyal fans as well as all the other clubs. Mosside had its own football team for many years and enjoyed local support. It is not running at present, but will hopefully reform before too long, as it is a good outlet for all ages. Spectators miss the matches on a Saturday, and young players will miss the opportunity to play the game they enjoy. Very importantly, the team was completely non-sectarian, with opportunities for young people from all traditions to enjoy the game.
This is a story about something that happened at a away match many years ago. Mosside football team at that time played in a green jersey and white shorts with a white shamrock on the jersey. One day they headed to Clough-Fern to play a league match. Their colours drew a bit of attention to the locals, who wondered what sort of people had come to their pitch. The referee's decision was questioned and a few locals rushed the field. There was a bit of a scuffle, the haggles were up and a few choice words were exchanged, and then a Mosside fan, in the heat of the moment, threatened to report the officials to the higher football authority, but in his haste got his letters mixed up, and instead of referring the officials to the IFA, threatened them with the IRA. Oh dear, it could only happen to Mosside.
We grew up in Northumberland, and in those days there was not much happening in the country. So when the 12th of July approached, it brought great excitement and activity around the villages like Mosside, Sternockham and the Westside, near our Moyle. Each village had a band to accompany the lodge on the 12th day to the demonstration held in local towns, maybe Ballycastle, Bushmills or Clough-Mills. But in Northumberland, Mosside, the Bushside and Sternockham had not one but 2 bands, and believe me, this is where the trouble started. Now some of you will know nothing about the Orange Order, and some of you may know a bit of its history, but unless you lived in certain parts of Northern Ireland, you would probably not have heard about the Independent Orange Order. To give you a wee bit of history, the Independent Orange Order was formed in 1903 by a Belfast man called Tom Sloan. He and some others had been expelled from the Orange Order for criticising the political stand taken in alignment with the Ulster Unionist Party. They formed the Independent Orange free from political affiliation and more in sympathy with the Labour movement. However, over the years this changed and the Independent Order now supports mainstream unionism. I hope that bit of background will help to explain why these villages and others across the province split.
It also explains the bitter rivalry which was evident in the run-up to the 12th demonstration. The rest of the year people got on with life and worked and socialised side by side. That all changed in July. The bands put on their marching rig and got a bit of practice before the big day. Out they came to Mosside Main Street to show off their skills and collect a wee bit of money to boost funds. That was when the trouble started. The two bands squared up to each other and the street was not big enough to hold them. Often abuse was heard and the odd punch was not unknown, especially on the 12th night when a bit of drink had been taken and, as they say, the wit was out. Families could be split down the middle and neighbours were at each other's throat. One woman on Mosside was heard to say, "Them independents would gie the skitter," so it was also a health hazard, and at least one young man from Mosside who ventured to Sternockham to see the excitement got a clash from his aunt for stepping out with a girl from the other side. I'm happy to say that he went on to marry her and had 49 happy years. Couldn't have been all that bad. And you thought the difference only occurred between people from diverse backgrounds. I'm glad to say that things are more peaceful now, but that doesn't mean that there's no rivalry with memories as long as the odd commitment can still be heard.
The primary school I went to was a wee school in the country. I grew up in North Antrim and never thought that I was any different from the other children who lived around me. My family never talked about religion or politics. Like most working class families, they were too busy making ends meet at a time when money was not plentiful. We got on well with all our neighbours and there was always somebody to help when it was needed, whether it was gathering potatoes, bringing home peats for the winter firing, or just odd jobs about the house. I knew we had neighbours called Macaulay living up the road. I played with Patsy and Pearl, and if we were good, Mrs. Macaulay sometimes gave us a biscuit. Dan Macaulay was a regular visitor to our house, and I remember games of draughts going on till late at night with my uncle. I would lie in bed in the wee room above the kitchen and hear them laughing and joking, with the odd hook when there was a winner. So, when I started school, I was not surprised that Patsy and Pearl went too. What I couldn't understand was why they were allowed to come in late after we had morning prayer. We always said "Our Father" before lessons, and they did not come in until we had finished. I think I was a wee bit jealous that they could come in later while we had to rush to get in on time. And mind you, I lived beside the school, so I had no excuse. It was only when I was older that I understood that Patsy and Pearl, and later on Danny and Anne-Marie, were a different religion from the other children at our school. They were Roman Catholics and would normally have gone to their own school, except that it was 5 miles away and they were too young to walk so far. No school buses in those days ferrying children door to door. Later on, when they were older, they did go to the Catholic school, and we lost touch, but mostly because they got a nice new house and moved away. What I remember about those days are the happy times we had. I still count Patsy and Pearl among my friends, although I seldom see them now, and I just wish that life could be as simple as it was then. I think that it is because of this experience that I support the rise of integrated education across the province. Parents now have an opportunity to give their children an education which accepts all cultures, and this can only benefit both the children and the wider community. Our future depends on our youth, and we must support anything which helps to break down barriers and make for a more open society.